Hi, I'm Samara Vermeer. A couple weeks ago, I sent out an email talking about our curriculum called Fully Armed. Now, I mentioned that we included prayer as a part of the armor of God. So today I wanted to explain why we included prayer as a part of the armor of God. As you read about the armor in Ephesians chapter 6, imagine where Paul was as he wrote this. He was sitting in prison observing the Roman soldiers. He talks about their weaponry. He talks about their belt, breastplate, shoes, shield, helmet, and sword. And then, if you read in Ephesians 6:18, Paul says, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit. Now, Rick Renner teaches that it's commonly known that a Roman soldier had 7 pieces of weaponry in his suit of armor. The 7th piece being a lance. There were different kinds of lances. Some were short and were used for thrusting into an enemy from up close. And other lances were long and heavy and were used at hurling at the enemy from a distance. Now, the Roman soldiers' goal was to keep the enemy out of their camp at all costs. If they could attack them before they ever got to their camp, that was a success. They wanted to keep them from infiltrating their camp. Isn't it interesting that prayer does the very same thing for us? We can send our prayers out ahead of us to keep the enemy, the devil, from attacking our camp or our lives. Now here's an object lesson that goes along with this teaching. Have your students make their own lance. This lance is made out of empty toilet paper rolls, wrapping paper rolls, etc. And I just use silver tape to tape them together. But of course you could use whatever color or pattern that you have. At the very end, I pinch the end together to make a spear type end. Then after your students have created their lances, have them write their prayers on the lance. Maybe it's a prayer of consecration, saying, God, I dedicate myself more wholly to you. Or maybe it's a prayer of faith, saying, God, this is something I'm believing you for, or this is something I'm believing for you to do in my life. So have them write their prayers on their lance. Then have your students line up on one side of your classroom and have a helper dress up like an enemy, or the devil, on the other side of the classroom. Now when the enemy tries to attack your students, have your students hurl their lances across the classroom at the enemy, and watch the enemy cower and run away in fear. It's a great illustration to show our kids that just like a lance was sent from a distance to keep the enemy from attacking a soldier's camp, so are our prayers sent out before us to keep the enemy from attacking our camp or our lives. So this curriculum, Fully Armed, every lesson talks about this, talks about how to help your students stand against every strategy of the enemy. And remember, the rest of this month, Fully Armed is on sale. You can check it out at our website. Thanks for watching.